Oh, there he is. All right. Thought I'd get you here. You're going to be in charge by the minute I must get you here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call to order the regular meeting of the Garden City Council at approximately 7:03 p.m. First thing on the agenda, if you'll please bow your heads. Dear Lord, please give us the guidance to establish our city in a manner that you see fit, to oversee our citizens and especially our staff as they perform the services they need to keep our city safe, protected. Oversee our officers as they perform their duties on our city streets, and make sure that our staff performs services that is in line with our citizens, and that you protect our citizens and our military staff throughout the United States and throughout the world. It's in your name we pray. Amen. Chief, would you like to lead us in the flags?
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you, sir.
Block my vision. Well, I'm not native Texan.
So the first thing on the agenda is going to be canvassing of the May 10th, 2013 election and oath of office. Somebody like give us a family first?
Okay, the election, of course, for Mike Pecky, he had 301 votes, 135 undervotes. Guy Snodgrass had 214 votes. Chad Woodard had 211 votes. So Guy won that. He had 50.35%, and Chad had 49.65%. Total votes cast was 425, and there were 11 undervotes. And Mayor Michael Tedder, he had a total of 309 votes, and undervotes 127.
Somebody like to make a motion approving,
Move the canvassing vote, approve the canvassing vote.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. So that means congratulations to the two of y'all. I guess myself.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Or condolences, however you guys see looking at that. I think we get a lot, so you want to go ahead and cover the oath of office?
Yes. You want to start with the oath of office, just start by your first sheet there with the gold lettering is the one you're going to read from first. If you want to do that all together, it'll be fine.
Sure.
Okay, raise your right hand.
Sure.
And I
Mike Snodgrass, do solemnly swear or affirm
That I will faithfully execute the duties of Mayor,
Alderman,
City
Council of the City of
Dallas, State of Texas,
and will to my ability to preserve,
protect, and defend the Constitution
and the laws of the United States and of this state, so help me God. I swear this oath follows the sacred oath.
Okay, and the next page is the oath supplement.
I,
Mike Snodgrass, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of Alderman
or indirectly
or office of the City Council of the City.
You're on the wrong page, sir. Pay, contribute, or promise to contribute anything or valuable thing, or promise any public office, employment, or awards or appointment. I swear or
Directly or
affirm myself on my
indirectly paid,
sacred
offered,
honor,
or
so
promised to pay, contributed, or promised to contribute any money or valuable thing, or promised to any public office employment as a reward to secure my appointment. I swear this oath on my sacred honor, so help me God.
Thank you.
I thought that sounded quite the same.
I think one's a copy for you to keep, the other one's to turn in.
Where's the other? Oh. Get it.
You're not an official. You sign off there.
Yeah, we don't, you can keep those two. Right, these two are mine. Just take them.
Did you sign mine? This is mine. Where's mine? Right. Sign both. This is yours. Has your name. I have mine. You sign. Oh, mine.
You signed his?
Okay, now that we've done that, you got your stuff, you turn it in.
No, I didn't. You did. You said there it is right there. You got it.
Can I-
Get these over.
Would you not like it
Yeah, let
signed?
me sign it.
So it's official? You signed both of them?
Yeah, I thought it was the second one. The other,
So officially, we have Becky, we don't have an official. Are you gonna keep Becky's?
that's mine.
She'll
Okay.
make you another one.
That's-
Guy.
The oaths of office have been taken. Moving on to item number 2, appointment of Mayor Pro Tem. Would somebody like to make a nomination for the Mayor Pro Tem?
I nominate Steve Lowe.
I have a nomination of Steve Lowe. Any other?
I nominate Josh Snodgrass.
And I got Scott. All in favor of, any other nominations? I'm sorry. Would you like to be nominated? Any other nominations? We have 2 nominations. So, all in favor of Steve Lowe for Mayor Pro Tem? Say aye.
Aye.
Can I vote?
Yeah, you did it.
Yeah.
Aye.
All in favor of Guy Snodgrass?
Aye.
So, 3-2, Steve Lowe, you're new Mayor Pro Tem. Congratulations, sir.
My street's messed up.
So that means,
I
yeah, you
don't
get,
carry any more authority than anybody else.
okay.
That's what God's been telling me for 20 years.
Moving on to item number 3, citizens' comments. As usual, we have an open floor for citizens' comments. If you please raise your hand, I'll point you out. Leave your name and address for the record, please. Citizens' comments?
I'm Mary Webster at 3301 Abbey Court. I'm here to express my extreme outrage to the City Council for your lack of sensitivity to your neighbors in the northern part of DWG. Thanks for the unsightly frat pond, for your lack of communication with all of us directly affected by this. You sure could send us a notice when XTO was going to drill, and you sure notified us when XTO was already constructing the frac pond. But no notice was given that it was even being considered. You taught us a valuable lesson about the trust we have in our leaders of DWG. You represented yourselves well. Who in this city is monitoring this? Who's inspecting it? Who is checking the air quality? And who is checking the sound? And why, after we've looked into a lot of these infractions, has XTO never been fined by the city for their past infractions?
Any other citizens' comments?
Hi, I'm Cindy Noonan. My home is located at 3304 Elkins Drive. I've educated myself the last 6 weeks on drilling and fracking. I've noticed in this frack, unlike the previous 2 fracks, that there's fracking one day and then there's several days go by before fracking is resumed. This is because we are filling the park tank with water from the hydrants on the days the actual fracking is not taking place. At this rate, one day fracking, several filling, will that tank be gone in 12 weeks from when it was built as promised? Or, because you put in your notes that XTO must come back to the City Council for approval, was a 12 weeks given as an appeasement for the citizens, expecting them to come back for more approval for a longer time? My second question to the council and the mayor is, We recently discovered that 6 more wells are to be drilled, totaling 17 on this pad site alone. If the temporary tank is to be removed and a beautiful baseball field to be built, where's the water for the next frac for those 6 wells to come from? And my third comment is, on your city website, on the advantages of using the freshwater storage tank, bottom bullet point, the city will benefit from the sale of approximately 2 million gallons of water. Well, the last 6 fracs on the first fracking job, the last 6 wells, reported to the TRC was 25.8 million gallons of water to frack those 6 wells. So where are they getting the other 22 million gallons of water? Are they purchasing it from us? Are they not having to purchase? Because it takes approximately 4 to 5 million gallons of water to frack a well, and they're fracking 5 wells. So if we're only benefiting from 2 million gallons of water sales, where's the rest of it? Those are my 3 questions to this mayor and this council.
Any other citizens' comments? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Paula Bamey, 2705 Park Place Court. And I have 3 things that I would like to bring to the attention of the council. One is that the bollards that were installed along our property line and behind the park are so bright that you can't even see the trail at night. If it's dark, it's like a car coming toward you with its beams on high. You're blinded. You can't see where the concrete moves. And we would like to have some kind of shielding or a deflector to send the light down onto the trail rather than straight into the eyes of the walkers. Second thing, last winter when I attended several of the city council meetings, the discussion centered around the water mains and how fragile they were. And I remember that you pointed to the map and said you were going to have to do it in thirds because it was so expensive, and that you were going to address the water mains in the north or the older part of Dalworthy Gardens first before doing the others, and maybe the newer ones didn't need to be addressed as urgently. And I was just wondering when we're going to get an update on that. The Bowen situation, I'm assuming, is because a water main has broken. And we just tried to go to a dinner south of 20, and the traffic is completely blocked up and gridlocked in all of South Arlington, any of the feeder roads around Bowen. So we would like to have a status report, my husband and I, on the water mains, because we know that our California is always dug up. It's patched to the point where you can see places where the pavement has been patched so many times it just kind of waves. The third thing is that Melinda had suggested that it would be very easy to establish a Facebook page for the city where citizens could comment on some of the things that were done, and that things such as the fracking tank could be put on the Facebook page so that we would know of meetings where it was going to be discussed. Trying to find the schedule and the agenda for these meetings means that I drive over here, get out and look at the posted one on the wall here by the main office. And I think that's a very inefficient way of letting the citizens know what you're going to be discussing at a meeting. So those are my 3 concerns.
Okay. Any other citizens' comments? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Janine Calhoun, 3303 Eddy Court, and I, like some of my neighbors that have been here, that have already spoken here, have real concerns about this fracking, about what has led up to it, and the lack of transparency that we feel from you as a council and mayor. We feel that things are done in private session instead of being done in front of us, and that things happen that are not listed on the agendas. So we do have concerns about the transparency. The city newsletters are a joke as far as what is in there about the council actions. There's never any council actions there except approve the minutes and, you know, a couple things like that. It doesn't reflect what really goes on in these meetings. I do want to discuss a couple of other things, looking at item 15 that's on the agenda, about the impounding of water at Happy Elkins. I do know that when I was working on the grant for all the sidewalks, and we were doing all of the surveys, and I spent all the time over in the records in Fort Worth, that one of the things that we did discover at that time was that there was an old Corps of Engineers study that showed that the city of Dalworth and Gardens did have the title to all of the lake access, that the homes that back up to the lake were not boundaried by the lake, but several feet in. That information, when the park board was dispensed with, was given to Kristen, and along with all the estimates and everything that went along with it. I do have a concern that, while you are doing all of this on Pappy Elkins Lake, that you need to go back and research that again, because this is the time when we might be able to enforce and find those records and enforce them once again. Hopefully they're still in Kristen's files and it won't be a problem. On item 17, on the reference to the cleanup of Pappy Elkins Lake bottom, also back when I was on the park board, one of the things that we talked with Mayor Tedder about at that point was that when the lake got low, that was the prime opportunity to dredge the lake, to pull the silt out of it so that it was a better watershed for us. It's not going to get much lower than it is right now, and so this is a time to look at that as well as in the cleaning. To discuss and to go over that. Finally, I do want to bring up one more issue, and that is the noise of the fracking. I looked on the Pappy Elkins neighborhood website and have seen a couple of those reports. I want to know where I can find those reports daily, because I would like to monitor what the output is from that fracking, because last week, one day, it was so loud, I attempted to record it and was not real successful in recording it, because I wanted you to hear what I hear at 8 o'clock in the morning when I should be quietly listening to birds sing. And so I would like to have that information of who is monitoring the sound output and where do I get copies of those. Supposedly it's being monitored daily. Thank you.
Any other citizens' comments?
I'll make one more.
Larry Stein, 2622 Clover Lane. Spoke before P&Z earlier. I want to encourage council and mayor to address the options of letting the citizens use photovoltaics, solar power generation. Technology has been around for over 20 years. TXU has been willing to let people net meter. It's not rocket surgery anymore. There are off-the-shelf solutions available. We're not asking council to do anything to get involved in what citizens can or can't do that isn't normal elsewhere. TXU set up for this. We have no permitting process for it. Our staff isn't quite ready for it, but there's some huge benefits potentially for us. Brownouts. Rumor has it gets a little hot around here in June, July, August. That's when the infrastructure is stressed them up. That's when solar production reduces demand on the grid with zero infrastructure cost to the city, none whatsoever. There are no new code issues. There are no new risks that you don't already assume with any other construction approval. So I would like to see us move forward, and that companies that have been doing this for well over a decade in Texas and for 20 years in other places. I'd like to see your citizens be able to take advantage of that. Thank you.
Any other citizens' comments?
I have one more. Okay, go ahead.
Kathy Stein, 2622 Clover Lane. Just a reminder that P&Z was first directed to look at this in May of 2010, and I would really like to see this actually get finished a lot sooner than my lifetime. I'm just going to add that for fun, but it would be nice in the next couple of months if we could actually see something. I suspect from what I heard last month
from council on this item agenda, that it does look like you are trying to proceed forward and actually hopefully have some ordinances to pick apart tonight and decide what you like. I do think that the technology has improved so much that the look is a lot better. They don't have to be the funny offset kinds anymore. You can put, they need to be flush mount in the ordinances if you want to, because there's some very efficient systems out there that are like that. So I'd just like to add to that to encourage you to please move forward on this and get something in place, because I know that since May of 2010, while you haven't had a stampede, you have had at least a handful of people before we started asking again come in and ask about it. And I think the reason you haven't seen more people is because they heard from the people that said, we can't, so they didn't even bother. So I think you will find, it's kind of like building a sidewalk. People said, nah, nobody's gonna use it. And it's a very beneficial thing to our city. I think this would be beneficial as well. Thank you.
Cindy Noonan again. I just wanted to thank Melinda. The day that Janine's talking about was May 13th, and it was extremely, I mean, it's the loudest I've ever heard it in the 5 years I've had to listen. And I called her, and she was down there in 30 minutes, and I really appreciate that, Melinda. And it stopped. Whether it stopped because they ran out of water, I'm not sure, but it hasn't been that loud since. And I appreciate that. And the only, I did have a question to follow up on this one, is that I've looked at the website every day to try to gauge what is considered acceptable. And it looks like on the site, every day's listed, but for the graph that's shown, it just looks like an example graph. And it's not a true graph of what's happening every day, every hour. It's an example. And so the same example is coming up every day, and the same numbers are coming up every day. So wherever that decibel, I'm going to go back, walk back and find the decibel meter, wherever it is.
It's an app. You can get one on your iPhone.
Okay, wherever that is. On the site, there's a yellow dot as to where the 300 feet is located, where the meter from the people that are actually officially monitoring it, it's on the website. There's a dot behind on the northwest corner, 300 feet from the site. And so I just wanted to make you aware that that's just an example showing up on there. So whether the official people need to update that daily, I don't know. I don't know where that goes, but we are watching it because there have been a couple days that have been really unpleasant. So, but thank you for going over there when you were called. I appreciate it.
Any other citizens' comments? Going once, going twice. So, moving on the agenda to mayor and council comments. Any council members have any?
I'd like to make a comment. I would like for all of y'all to know sincerely that there are no flying saucers buried underneath City Hall, and that we are up front. There's no agendas. There's no trying to mislead any of the citizens in any way. We actually all like each other, and we saw the federal government was like that, and but we are not engaged in, or if anything, there's no trying to hide anything from anybody, or trying to lie about anything, or mislead anyone about anything. And I just want you to know that you have my word that I don't know of anything that goes on that's been accused, been flagrantly thrown out here that we're doing this or we're doing that. Matter of fact, I was accosted by a gentleman in the parking lot coming to the meeting, and the first thing he asked me was, are we going to have a prayer at the beginning of the council meeting? And I went, well, we normally do. What does that have? What is, I don't, but it's like there's no conspiracies or no anything going on in this city. You have my word on that, whether that's worth anything to you or not. But if there is, then I'm not aware of it, and we're all pretty close-knit group. So for whatever that's for whatever that's worth.
Any other council comments?
I've got one comment. I'm all for us trying to find ways to communicate better with our citizens in terms of our minutes and our agendas. But I do want to point out that, and I just checked it, our website has every agenda posted in advance and has all the minutes from every meeting that's up there. So that information is available. But if there's ways we can make it more available, we'd love to see how to do that. But I think there was a comment that you have to come up here to look at it. Well, it's on the website. And we've never, in the time that I've been on council, and I'm sure even before that, because our counselor here keeps us pretty straight, considered or voted on anything or discussed anything that was not on the agenda, because that would be illegal.
Right.
Nor can we go in the back room and discuss it unless we're in an official executive session. In which there's a very limited amount of things, what we can discuss in executive session. And our council is there to make sure that we don't.
Anybody else?
I just wanna say ditto to both you guys. We're not trying to hide anything, we're out here pretty open. My office is right around the corner, anybody come to me and talk to me anything about it. We don't try to hide anything here. Everything's open, we've never had any special behind.
I have a hearing disability in one ear, and I am unable to hear anything that is being said up there unless it's a little bit louder, and I would appreciate it very much. Since you guys are not mic'd, to project to the back row so we can hear what is being discussed.
We're just saying that we do everything out in the open, we have public meetings, that we post an agenda, it's on the website. All the past meetings are there for you to go and look at, all the past agendas.
What's a closed meeting? Just, I don't know, because there's been termed closed meetings. Are those work meetings? Are those executive meetings?
We
Or-
have
Executive sessions,
Oh,
they're
okay.
posted on the agenda
Okay.
also, but there's no illegal meetings taking place, we don't do that.
Okay.
Everything's posted that we do.
Can you vote in executive meetings, just because I don't know?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No.
And I'll clarify the executive sessions. The
Okay,
executive sessions that we have are listed as executive sessions on the agenda.
right.
They'll be very specific about what is going to be discussed. It'll say we're having a discussion regarding a litigation or employee or something else. Those are discussions that are had
Right,
in a private room,
but no votes.
no voting,
Okay.
and it's discussed legal issues. We've had, just so that you know, we've been sued. We've had suits filed against us for building permits. We've had employee issues that we've had issues with being sued. We also have employee reviews, and some of those things are done in executive session, so it's not out in front of the public for us to review somebody and make comments. Like the chief, in theory, if he was here, we review him. And so we go over that, we give him the things that we do, we have that discussion in private, we come out here and we then say, you know, if there was something that needs to be addressed, we'll address it and say we'll vote on something and address that in front of our session. So there are no meetings that are taking place behind doors with XTO, Chesapeake, or any of those other things where we're having discussions and doing things that our citizens don't know about, or that they don't have the ability to know about. So I just want to make sure that, there's a couple of other issues that I want to address, and there's a core group of y'all that I get it. I've responded to some of the emails. I've made suggestions. I've even said, I'm more than willing to meet with you guys. I'll set up separate meetings if we need to address some of these things. It's been very specific in my email. I've not gotten a response. Mr. Flowers got it. He passed that along. I know Janine got it. She got a copy for sure because she responded to me with another comment. So I've made those. There's no hidden agenda here. I am on the same page with you people. I understand. I was on the phone, Ms. Noon, with your husband for a long period of time, and I got a little, angry with him over part of it because I'm out here standing in front of your house trying to address some of this stuff, and I'm just being told, fix it, fix it, fix it. I'm not the smartest guy in the world. There are smarter people out there than myself, and people have other ideas on how to fix things, and how to do things. I'm open to any of those, and I think so is this council. If there are things that we can do, let's go over them and discuss them. find a time to meet. I'll meet with you when we can have a time. Give me a schedule.
Here's some questions right here that I asked.
Okay, but I'm not looking just for questions. We can answer some of the questions. I'm looking for answers. If you think there's a problem and you have a solution, bring it to me. Say, hey, look, we've got this. This is what we feel like would be, he addressed the wall. We have to look at the things on the top. I went out there and looked and said, you know what? I don't have to see that every day. And so, no, it doesn't cross my mind every time I drive in my neighborhood that I see that sitting over there. There are things in my neighborhood that I see every day and I go, oh. But that is something. Can we fix it? How do we fix it? Do we plant bigger trees? Do we do some other things?
You make them stay with code,
What?
like you asked them to.
Okay, but
And they haven't.
Those are things that we need to get addressed the right way.
Low profile.
But we need to get it addressed the right way. And it's not just, saying, oh, and sending the bombardment of emails of just, do this, and, I get some of the frustration in that, but it's not the frustration. I'm looking for answers. Help find solutions. These people are here. We, as council, we, as citizens, have signed agreements with them. Oil and gas legal rights are far above and beyond property owners. And it's been very well established. So we gotta find ways to work. Yes, the frac tank. We made a decision to do the frac tank because it's less obtrusive than having 18-wheelers driving in and out of here, setting up tank systems all around and doing that. They're going to frac the wells. We can't stop.
What about the next frac? Where's that water coming from?
Don't know the answer to that yet.
You have,
I don't know when they're
We don't know
gonna,
anything about
we don't know if they're gonna drill any more wells. They've
I have not heard
proposed
that.
that, they have on there, they've said, look, we could drill up to so many wells. There's no telling whether they will or they won't drill those wells. When they do it, we need to come up with a solution in order to provide that. If you've got a better answer, or your group has a better answer on how to do it more appropriately, or a location, or things that we can do, I think this council is very well open to figuring out the best way to do that. We had listed on our agendas that we were gonna discuss this. This just didn't just appear. We had discussions on what was the best solution. We had surveys done. We had them do sample tests. Those were discussed in prior meetings over the course of 6 to 8 months of, hey, what's going to happen? How do we do this? It was listed on our agenda.
completely
And
dumbfounded.
nobody came to say, that's horrible. We can't do that. And so
Do you
that.
not think we would have thought it was
Well,
horrible?
no, but now wait a
Read the
second.
agenda.
In the same token,
Guys,
wait, in the
will.
same token.
Guy, tell him what I said. Tell him what I said.
We will.
In the same token, ladies, I understand the frustration. In the same token, when we decided to put sidewalks in, do you know how many people came and said, oh, they're horrible, and they're never gonna get used, just like Ms. Stein said. There are groups of people that always, we're not all gonna agree on everything that we do. It's never gonna happen.
Mayor Tedder, I discussed with
So-
Mr. Snodgrass because you were too angry. So I discussed with Mr. Snodgrass some of our issues. And he came up with a solution, one of which was my solution was, why didn't you put the tank on the other side of the land that you own, on the other side over here where all the cars park? There's a huge
Exactly.
area of land on this side. I mean, first thing that came to my mind, he goes, we didn't even think of that. Secondly, what do you want from us? And I proposed to tell him the 3 main things that we wanted. We wanted you all to make them follow the rules that you put in for low profile.
Okay?
A privacy wall is something where the things are private behind it, not that you can see above.
Absolutely.
Okay? And secondly was that the trees you took down, you guys cleaned up the other side of the lake, which I appreciate, but you took down some of the things that actually hid the monstrosity. And then thirdly, we found out you can put well water back into that lake. And Guy Snodgrass put some water back into the lake, and all of the stuff started becoming vibrant again because the lake was absolutely stagnant. And it was this deep all the way across it because some young men were in there, which shouldn't have been because of that amoeba on a stagnant lake. And I asked them to please get out, but boy did it show me the desperation that we are in to save that lake. And next, he put it in, and I heard you came and got furious and yanked it out. Yanked the hose out and said that we,
It
and
was
you told my
pumping pure
husband,
rust into the lake.
the
is
rust
why I
will
turned it
settle.
off.
The rust will settle. And do it again later.
It's a violation of TCEQ.
No, it's not, sir.
No, it
I
isn't.
called the state. It
It
is
is not a
not.
violation.
You can put well water into the lake. You cannot put hydrant water into the lake.
Is that a lake or a pond?
It's a lake.
I don't know, is it a reservoir or is it a lake?
P.S. by the way, TC came out today, and now we're in issues that, is it really a pond or a lake at all? Or should we have to, enforce now the dam that's there or take it down?
Or is it a frac tank?
Or do you turn it just into a park?
Or is it a frac tank? I mean, we can go in a circle this way, sir, or we can come up with solutions.
And that's
Well,
what
but
we're,
No,
but-
you're not listening.
No, actually,
Ms. Noonan.
I guess, from my
Okay,
point
I'm
of
gonna
view,
move on.
Go ahead.
Excuse me, I still had something.
I
I'd
appreciate
like to-
everybody's opinions and everybody's thoughts,
Steve Horn.
but we can enter into this intelligently and unemotionally. It's like accusatory,
Let's be
and
intelligent.
we're not trying to do anything in a negative context to hurt anyone's way of living. I promise you that, we're not. And so, if you have an issue or a concern or a gripe or whatever, that's the thing I love about Dow Worthington Gardens is one unarmed citizen has a whole lot of word in what goes on in our city, and you can come and it does. But it's like, I don't understand where all the anger comes from. Okay, I don't get it.
I guess you don't live right next to
You're
that.
not
I live
living-
on Park Drive. I mean, I live right.
You're not living next to the pond.
I live right down.
And you're not
Park
having
Drive,
to
right down
listen
at
to
California
y'all.
Park, a little bit.
It's not just
Give us the
making
bullshit.
comments, though. Other citizens from other towns are
I wanted
coming out
to
here
finish
looking
my
at us like we're a bunch
comments.
of nuts.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm through.
Hold on. Go
I'd
ahead,
like
Mike.
to finish my comments, I never got through, so, the other comment I wanted to make is there's a typographical error on the agenda items. On item 7, line 3, it says series 2014, that should read series 2004. And the other comment I wanted to make was on the water line on Bowen, that's an Arlington water line, that's not where the Gardens water line. That's my understanding, that's what I've been told, so I assume that's correct. I haven't gone down there and physically inspected it, but
There's a third
That's my
type of meeting, the work session, that you gentlemen have, and I've never seen minutes for the work sessions, but I know that they were called often during the time that I was coming back in the winter, and you didn't mention that, so.
Those are budgetary. We usually go over budgets.
And they're public.
And they're public forums. I mean, we're just really going over the financial aspects of the city, what we can do, and
And
going
it's a
really
lot of fun.
line item by line item of what's in there.
Are minutes taken during that meeting, or?
Typically not. It's,
Nothing's voted on.
there's nothing, it's just really going through line item. We have line item for gun ammo. They need $10,000. Well, we're gonna approve $9,500. That's the number we're gonna put in there. And really, that's a budget that I put together to start with. The council comes back in and basically scrapes apart it and says, no, we're not gonna give you $5,000 for, this type of expense, or no, we're not gonna spend $10,000 in the park, or we're not gonna fix this road, we're gonna do this. Those are the things that are discussed in the work sessions. Usually in the fall is when we're having our
And that's the only thing that's
budgetary work
discussed.
sessions.
But and I'm sorry I got involved with the city about 10 years ago, first off planning and zoning and then with city council. And I was, basically told by a group of angry people that the former mayor did this and the former mayor did that and all this kind of stuff. And once I got involved in the city, all it was untrue. The former mayor didn't do any of those things. Actually did a pretty damn good job, at managing the city. This is our present mayor. But there weren't anything that, I heard all these stories and all, it was all just conspiracy tales and they weren't true. But, ma'am, you're looking at me like I've got nothing to gain by sitting here.
No, I would just like my questions answered,
Well,
that's
you have
all.
a right to have them answered.
Yeah.
You have a right to have them answered.
And I think we don't have the answers to a lot of them. I think XTO needs to be part of whatever conversations we have.
Maybe we set up
anything else from?
I mean,
But, no, but to me, we should know where we're gonna get the water if we drill again. I mean, you should know where you're gonna get the
We don't have a permit for
water.
another 6, I don't believe.
But they say they're going to, so why not have a plan? Just like there should be a plan to revitalize the lake, there should have been a plan ahead of time.
Mayor, if you watch the 6 o'clock news at night, every lake in the,
Okay, I'm not gonna go on anymore.
Don't.
they all have.
No,
Just
sir.
stop, just stop.
Just
I'm not
stop.
gonna
No.
Fine.
Gary, you have any comments? Yes?
You finished, Mike?
Mike, you done?
Yes, I'm
Sorry.
finished.
And other millions of gallons,
Yeah,
22 million gallons of water?
Cindy, we've talked, and we had some good exchange of ideas, and I am sorry that so many people feel like you were left out. And I blurted out a while ago. Well,
We were,
you
that's
weren't.
okay,
People, actually, I'm sorry, I get a chance to talk.
okay.
You're not left out, because we do have a process that was set up to notify every citizen in the city what's on the agenda. And I know that so often it's boring. I mean, our main attendee is Kathy Stein, and I know Kathy is probably just tired of hearing everything going on, and so you don't come, people don't come. And you do have a right to be upset when things didn't go how you may have liked for them to, but you do have an obligation, if you want to be involved, to look what's on the agenda and make your comments, or if you can't come, give one of us a call. I mean, I take phone calls, and matter of fact, we have something on the agenda tonight that's related to a phone call I took, and so that works.
May I
And
just,
like's been said before, we really don't have any secret agenda. I know that you have some legitimate concerns. That some people are unhappy with the water level of the lake, some people are unhappy with the noise, some people just don't want to look at it. And those are legitimate. But we have done everything above board and discussed everything that's going on. There's never been a decision made outside, a vote taken outside of this council.
sir, if I may, I think you have taken advantage of the fact that the citizens do not routinely get on the website and know when a city council meeting is going to happen or look on the website. Y'all knew, and if you didn't, you should have known that this situation with the drilling site would be major. And you should have been sending out not just monthly newsletters, but anytime something came on, you could have put it on the beautiful little sign
Ma'am,
that
okay, I'm gonna
I did not
because you're on
interrupt
my
you.
time. So I don't wanna be rude, but you're on my time. And what you're addressing right now, we had a full city public hearing at the school when all of this was going on, and everything that you're addressing was discussed in putting that well site there, in our contract with XTO. And this was a citywide decision that we would go into this agreement.
And no water would be taken out of Pappy Elkins.
And no
Now,
water would be
Cindy,
taken.
now-
Yes, it was,
Yes.
it's on record.
It's on
Okay,
record.
This is not a back and
That was on
forth,
that meeting.
I
Okay,
apologize.
it's on record.
No fracking. No fracking.
We did not, and I'm gonna make one statement on that, because there's been so much,
The night at 3 o'clock in the morning.
there's been so much misinformation put out, that we have records, and they've been supplied, that for every gallon of water we took out of the lake, it was put back in. It was used as a frac tank, and there was a one-time period there where that was done, and it was an in and out complete. It was used just like a tank.
One time on the first frac, just getting that on the record, right?
So what you
Set
just
of
said?
fracs.
It was
Okay,
between
thank you.
December 23rd and January 6th of, December 23rd, 2010, January 6th of 2011.
All right.
2-week period.
That's not the first
That's all, okay, and I just had one point I
When
wanted
the
to
water
make.
was drawn out of the lake.
I think when people are upset, it's human nature to look for somebody to blame. Now, there's nobody to blame for the water level in the lake being low, except for the lack of rain. And it has not come from the city. That's all I'm gonna say, that's my time.
Any other
Oh,
council comments?
yeah, I'd like to make another comment. Ms. Noonan, you mentioned about the 2 million gallons. The tank holds about 2 million gallons, it's 1.9, I think, if I figured it correctly. And it will be used more than once, it will fill more than once, obviously, so it won't be
22,000 gallons just appear from nowhere. It's gonna be money, gallons bought from Fort Worth, so.
For work?
You know, the city will benefit from 22
that
million.
wasn't a
Is that
question.
what you're saying?
Yes.
That wasn't her
The amount of
question.
water that goes into that tank, we benefit from. Our citizens benefit from.
Right, it just
We-
said we'll benefit from 2 million gallons of water
That
and,
may have been from the size of the frac tank being filled once. It could have,
okay.
so I
That-
think
So,
that's
but it
what
will be
You're
filled
right.
multiple
You're right.
times.
You're right. It's-
So I was just confused on
Yes.
that, so
it's
for the
You're
record,
right, it's 45 million gallons per frac.
I wonder.
correct,
You're
so
right.
we will benefit from all that water, because it's all hydrant water, correct? And it's all metered.
It's all
Right.
water,
Okay.
yes.
That's
And
not what the
water-
website says.
And it's gonna be 20,
Yeah.
that's gonna be 20 million gallons.
Okay.
That's all said and done.
Thank you,
Let me
that
clarify
helps.
for the record,
Yes, that
part
helps.
of that water could be well water if it's coming from that other line.
From the
From
Biloxi.
Biloxi, from our water
That's where I
well,
think
it's
somebody-
combined into the system. I don't wanna be specific and say we are only putting water from the Fort Worth water line into there, because it goes into our system and comes out. But we are buying the water from Fort Worth, supplied into our system, and then it's pumped from some of the hydrants. So technically, it is blended water to some extent,
Right,
so it's not just Fort Worth,
But
just
we
for
are-
the record.
but we are upcharging XTO, and the city
Absolutely.
is benefiting.
Yeah,
Every
absolutely.
gallon, yes.
Okay.
A significant amount.
Matter of fact, we're charging them $9.95
Cents a gallon.
per 1,000 gallons.
$10.
That's
That's
what we started out with.
$10, excuse me.
Okay.
A little bit. Now, your charge is $2.75 per 1,000,
No, 250, 275, yeah.
so,
Any other council comments?
uh,
Moving on to item number 5, department reports. Chief, would you like to cover your stuff?
Yes, sir. Chief Wakeman can't be here tonight. He had surgery on his hand today. We had a residential burglary down on Sunset Oaks. We've been doing some interviewing of people. We have a couple of suspects in mind now, but have not gotten a statement from them. But we feel like we know, have a pretty good idea of who did that, but they've not been arrested. The engine 243, which is our backup fire engine, is 20 years old. We had to do some fairly significant repairs to that. It's 20 years old, and we've got about $1,000 a year in maintenance, but the air conditioning and the steering and so forth, some things went out, so we've had to do some fairly major repair to that. Officer Garrett Gilbert has been here almost 5 years. He's leaving us after this next rotation. He's going to Grand Prairie. He's been a great officer. He's still doing one more week, and one of his best friends is another officer, and he wants to come out and work one more rotation with him. But he's done just a terrific job, and we're wishing him all of the success over there. We hate to have the turnover. And lastly, the chaplain McDuffie went to the White House there for the National Police Officer memorials that were done this last week, and he was there in the room with the president in honor of police officers that lost their life in the line of duty.
Thank you, sir. Melinda, does that cover yours?
Yeah, and the budget should be at the 58.33% mark at the end of April. General fund revenues are at 74, or basically 75% of the budget, and expenses at 61%. Sales taxes are up 11.26 from the comparable payment from last year, and the percent of total payments change to date compared to last year is 16.9%. The ad valorem collections are 95% complete, for a total of $7,774 and 773 cents today. The collections report for April 2013 stood at 93% this time last year. So we're doing a little better on ad valorem. General operating expenditures are 57%. DPS is 65%, and public works expenditures are at 77%. When you do your reports on the financials, we found a error on the water fund. I don't know if you want to exclude it in the approval or not, Mike. this time, cause I need to do a correction on the water fund.
Oh, we'll just put it subject to the correction.
Okay, well, the water revenues are at 53%, expenditures at 60%. The sewer line behind Campo Verde is complete. The new building permits on residential new builds are 3 Garden Lane and 3612 Orchid Lane. And we've got preliminary plans from John Watson for the development of Lot 4 of the Gardens Town Center. The plans were received, approved, and a permit was issued for paving, grading, drainage, and water and sewer improvements. Quick Trip also has a remodel permit to install a service counter. And the construction going down on Bowen is an Arlington water line. It's not the city of Darlington Gardens. And our guys found it. So I'm proud of my guys on that part. That's it.
Somebody like to make a motion for approval of departmental report subject to the water adjustment.
Motion approval.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Hey,
Sorry.
subject
I did say subject to.
the correction?
Yes, sir, that's what I said.
You didn't make it. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to item number 6, minutes of April 16, 2014 council meeting. Would somebody like to make a motion regarding those minutes?
Move approval.
I have a motion for approval. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Discussion items, consideration for a resolution for early redemption of the August 1st, 2014 City of Garland Garden City Council Combination Tax Revenue Certificate Series 2004, directing notice of redemption and approving all matters and incidents thereto.
And we have Chelsea Gomez here and Mr. Rudy.
Segura.
Segura. Sorry.